President Masterson, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you not hear me?
Okay, I see you.
I have an audio issue.
I can hear you, Ty.
Okay, we're having some
you
audio
can?
problems.
Yeah, I can hear him.
We can hear on this side. I think David can't hear
Okay,
all of us.
good, because I wasn't sure what to do with it.
Problems on our end. Hold on, just.
Around that painting looks like a window today with the light on it.
Okay, we're going to try this again. I'm having audio problems, I think, on my end, but President Masterson, can you hear me?
I can, and I'm here.
I can't hear you or anyone. Just bring me my laptop.
We better hurry and inform that connectivity committee.
I heard something.
This one may fit in modernization.
Yeah, top priority. Okay, I can hear now. Thank you, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, President Masterson is here. Speaker Reichman, I see you.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Burns-Wallace.
Here.
Mr. Orman.
I'm here.
Mr. Pickard.
Here.
And Mr. Rolfe.
Here.
Thank you very much. We have two items on our agenda today, the first of which is to make appointments to the 4 advisory panels that we established 2 or 3 weeks ago. Those advisory panels are economic revitalization, health and education, connectivity, and efficiency and modernization. And wanted to confirm that everyone received the list that was sent by the Recovery Office this morning that has a slate of names for each of those advisory panels. Okay, so would like to open up discussion on these names for each of our 4 panels, and can start with economic revitalization. There are items that anyone on the panel would like to discuss. Let's do that now on that particular group of names. Okay. Health and education. Any discussion on connectivity? And then efficiency and modernization.
Lieutenant Governor.
Yes, Mr. Orman.
The only suggestion, I'm actually fine with the panels as proposed. I would suggest that there's a little bit of missing information, particularly as it relates to people's titles and what they do. In some instances, I think we sort of give a vague description of folks. And I tried to circulate or tried to send last night updates to a handful of these names. And I think before we sort of publish them, it would be appropriate just to have people's proper titles in there so that there isn't any confusion in the press or more broadly with the people of Kansas as to who got appointed to these committees.
Yes, I agree completely. So we will ensure that as this goes, as the names are publicly announced, that we will have each member's organization, their role in that organization, and the community from which they come.
Great, that'd be terrific.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would just chime in. I agree with that. Some of that was just the nature of the beast, right? That we're, and by the way, thank you to you and the speaker for, I think, working in good faith to develop a list. And I know there was lots of shifts last minute that left some of that information blank, and as a result of that, so yeah, cleaning that up before it hits the public would be great. But I just want to say thank you to two of you for working in good faith on that list.
Well, thank you very much, President Masterson, and I want to return those thanks to you and Speaker Reichman for the collaborative process, and I think we've got a very strong slate of names that reflect the deep expertise that exists in our state around these four subjects. We've taken pains to ensure geographic diversity. We've taken pains to ensure that we've got folks that reflect the diversity of our state as a whole. And so I think we've got a very good, four very strong work groups.
With that, Mr. Chairman, it sounds like the discussion is pretty limited. I would make a motion that we accept this slate. I would note that though, I would add to that motion that this committee would then at a future time determine chairmanship, vice chairmanship of these subset committees. But at this point, to get the ball rolling, that we accept the slate and that we will decide on those chairs at a future date.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Okay, we will do a roll call vote. President Masterson?
Aye.
Speaker Reichman?
Aye.
Mr. Orman?
Aye.
Mr. Pickert?
Aye.
Mr. Rolfe?
Aye.
Secretary Burns Wallace?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is regarding scheduling of this committee through the end of the year. And Secretary Burns Wallace, could you take us through highlights on this schedule? And I want to confirm that everyone has. Okay. All right. I understand that the schedule is going to come out, should be coming to your inboxes now. I apologize for that. The goal here is to try to make sure that we have a predictable schedule through the fall, and that way we can all plan and make sure that we keep things moving along at a good clip. One item I would note is that I believe Mr. Orman and the other private sector members had discussed early on wanting to make sure that we have regional meetings of the Spark Task Force. And so this proposal includes a regional meeting in Wichita, the Kansas City area, and Dodge City to ensure that we are hearing voices from three major parts of the state. And so what we're proposing here includes a meeting that would be starting Meeting one of the group would be Monday, October 18 as a proposal, and we're going to we want to check calendars here while we're together. Meeting two, November 4th, meeting three, November 15, and a final meeting on December 10th. And these would be the executive committee meetings. And so those first three meetings are intended to be the regional ones that I referenced, to make sure that we've got geographic diversity in all of our conversations. Yeah, Mr. Rolfe.
I'll be the stick in the mud here. I can do November 4th and December 10th, but I am out on the 18th and 15th with immovable conflicts.
Okay. Are there other conflicts that members have as you're looking at these 4 dates?
Mr. Chairman, are you proposing these are on-site meetings in these other locations, not virtual meetings and time of days? I'm just picking.
Yeah, these would be on-site meetings, but also would be broadcast, so that we can ensure maximum participation by the public.
Do you have on these dates which ones are in which locations?
Tentatively would propose that the 18th would be Wichita. Well, let's just call it the first meeting would be Wichita, second meeting Dodge, and third meeting in the Kansas City region.
And then the fourth meeting?
Fourth meeting would be
Virtual.
not a regional meeting, but either virtual or in Topeka.
I'll tell you what, if that first meeting was in Wichita from 8 to 10 a.m., I could be there. I have to fly to Dallas at 10. So if we want to keep that, I don't know if we can start that early for everybody else to travel in. But
Okay.
apologize for the conflict.
No
You're
problem.
talking
We
about
have
the
very busy
18th?
people on this task force.
Are we
Are there
talking
other calendar conflicts that members have, Mr. President?
Are we talking about 10/18 on the one in Wichita then? 8 a.m. would be on the 18th of October this month? Is that what we're talking about?
That's that would be a time that Mr. Rolfe could do it on the 18th, which would eliminate one of the calendar conflicts.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, how's your calendar with these dates?
These look great. Thank you. Good work.
Mr. Rolfe, you said the other date that you couldn't do was
15th of
November 15th?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Mr. Orman, how's your calendar?
I think I can make them all work.
Okay. Mr. Pickert?
I've got a conflict on the 4th, but I'm supposed to be in St. Louis Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that week, but I could call in.
Okay.
The Monday the 15th, if again it could be first thing in the morning, I might be able to make that that work.
And that one's in Kansas City?
That is proposed, yeah, for Kansas City. We can be flexible on which city we do when, but proposal would be Wichita, Dodge, KC. Does anyone have an objection to 8 a.m. on November 15 in Kansas City? Okay. So it sounds like,
Lieutenant Governor, the 18th will be a challenge for me, but if we had a call-in option the October meeting, I could do that. But it'll be a challenge for me to be in Wichita the morning of the 18th.
Okay. Well, I think given the complications of everyone's schedules, it may be impossible to get us all on site in those cities, but if we can get as many as possible and then have a call-in option for those who can't physically be there, we'll do that. So,
And I'd tell you, if you prefer to do the, well, no. Yeah, okay. Ignore that, sorry.
okay. All right, so it looks like, give me just half a second. Looks like it would be October 18 from 8 to 10 a.m. in Wichita. November 4 from 3 to 5 p.m. in Dodge City. November 15, 8 to 10 a.m. in the Kansas City region. And then Friday, December 10 from 10 a.m. to noon, either in Topeka or virtual. Any further discussion on those dates, times, and places?
Will that be sent back out to us?
Yes, it will. I'd ask the recovery office to send that out immediately after, or as quickly as possible, right after the meeting.
And what, do we have an idea what those agendas look like? How we'll fill the 2 hours?
I would anticipate that this will be heavily weighted toward taking public comment, hearing the concerns, hearing the opportunities that residents, business leaders, local government folks and beyond have in each of those regions, what their priorities are so that it can inform our discussions as a task force and as well to help inform the work groups that we've just appointed. Want to do more listening than talking in those meetings. Okay, any further discussion on these dates, times, and places? Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second, any further discussion? Okay, call the roll. President Masterson?
Aye.
Speaker Reichman?
Aye.
Secretary Burns-Wallace?
Aye.
Mr. Orman?
Aye.
Mr. Pickert?
Aye.
Mr. Rolfe?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Before we adjourn, are there other items that any members of the task force would like to discuss? Mr. Rolfe?
Yeah, I think some of you guys are aware of this, but there was some Gear 2 funding that went to higher ed that has a plan around it that now needs to go through this committee for approval. I just asked that we could put that on the next agenda and see if this committee has any issue with that. I think it'd be important to release that money. It's already in the higher ed bank account, but they're awaiting beginning the programming until it gets to this committee.
Okay. Would ask if we could get some background information either from Regents or through the recovery office, wherever that may lie, that could be sent to the whole committee, and we will agendize that for discussion at the next meeting.
Yeah, and just so everybody understands this, I think it's around $11 million that was from the a previous round of money, it's not in the 1.3 billion that we have left to distribute. So it's around student success and mental health and some of the targets that had come through that GEAR program. So
Got it.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Any other items for discussion?
I'd like to ask kind of where the status is, or when we're going to see the guidance given to the advisory panels, specific to keeping them on track with the kinds of investments that we're looking for, consistent with our guiding principles, and kind of what that is going to look like, and get a chance to see that before it gets finalized, if possible.
Okay. Let me follow up with Recovery Office and also with President Maston and Speaker Reichman. And we'll make sure we get something out to the group before those committees start meeting.
Thank you.
And I'll add to that, I think we're going to have we'd need our first report out from the hospitals. Would that be at the November 4th meeting, or something that would be given to us in written form? Do we know how that would come across?
Secretary Burns Wallace, do you know?
So it will probably be not at the November 4th, but the November 15th, only just because of timing. So just to give a quick update there on timing, the Recovery Office and KDHE has helped to make sure the information has gone out, and have been in contact with all of the eligible hospitals, and applications were opened last Friday and are open through the 29th. And basically the awards will go out on a rolling basis. So as the applications come in, they're finalized, the dollars will start to move out. So we should see dollars starting to move out to the hospitals probably in the next 10 days or so. And the reason I say probably that second November meeting, because it'll give enough time for the application closing so that all of the hospitals are now in play and we'll have all of the applications. What KDHE and the Recovery Office worked to do was to send out a letter of intent initially, just to get a gauge to make sure, one, they were answering questions and getting information out. And I think it's around 120 of the 122 that were eligible indicated they plan to apply. So those applications, again, a few have already come in, they're being assessed. And then they'll start to push those dollars out rolling as the applications come in. But the hospitals do have till the 29th to put in their application and then to receive their allocated amount. So I'd say probably that second November meeting, we'd be able to pull some data, just given how the dollars will move and the plans that are coming in. There's been a couple of webinars that have been held, just particularly to answer questions, to walk through clarifying, numbers and things of that nature. In doing so, after the plans are approved, the grant agreements goes out, and then the dollars go out. And like I said, I think they're anticipating the earliest payment should be out as early as the 18th. So we're right in that space. So does that help?
Yeah, thank you for that update.
Mm-hmm.
I have two additional items, if I may, Mr. Lieutenant Governor.
Please go ahead.
One, will the Recovery Office follow up with the nominees that weren't selected, or do we need to do that with people we nominated?
RO will follow up with both those that were and those that were not for next steps.
Thank you. And then last, when we're working on, kind of how these groups are going to work, I think also to make sure we're working alongside that, the clarity of anybody who has an idea or an application for these Spark dollars, where that kind of broad bucket goes in that doesn't necessarily fit in one of the four, and how someone gets that into the process. I'm still unclear, besides handing us a proposal, one of the seven of us, how they get a proposal for these dollars in front of us or to be evaluated. Does that question make sense?
I think that goes to the coordinator, right? We need to get our coordinator in place probably by next meeting, if not two, right? And so that's who I would see disseminating into the groups and also directing the groups, right, as to what their parameters are. So that's, we had a little bit of cart and horse issue with this committee already with a few things. So I think it's important we get the coordinator in place.
Yeah,
And
I
one
hope that
thing
we
to
can,
note one thing to note, just as things have been coming in prior to getting the rest of the structure in place, those have been collected and are, will be pushed through. But, things have come through some of you all, they've come through various other offices, the governor's office. So they're just in a holding pattern to be moved till we get the rest of that structure in place as well, so.
and my hope would be that we can move swiftly to get the coordinator selected, ideally at the next meeting. So we need to get that done so we can speed this process up.
How is that hiring process going to work? Who's of the candidates that have been recommended? Who's going to select that person? Who's going to interview them? Obviously, a decision has to be made before you make an offer. But how do we envision that process working?
We've received a number of name suggestions, and I don't know if, frankly, we've been trying to get the appointees for these work groups taken care of, which we just did this morning. And so next order of business is process on this. So Mr. Pickard, if you can give us a little bit of time here, a couple days, and we'll be back with a concept on how we do this from a process perspective.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional items for discussion? Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I think the beginning meeting we talked about the collaboration between yourself, the Senate President, and I, and try to stay within the bounds of what we're trying to accomplish. I think we're very successful with the list that we just came up with. It was refreshing to see the number of applicants that we had, or people that the talent we have throughout the state. So it was actually a little more difficult than we thought it would be. I see that same type of process working going forward as far as selecting the executive director. And also, we have to work through the chairs and vice chairs. And so at least folks can go ahead and plan on getting started, not to slow the process down. And so I would, anticipate the same type of process if that's kind of the agreement of the committee, the will of the committee. And I think we can keep this process rolling with that same collaboration that was just practiced on today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I would just concur with those comments.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Well, we will proceed accordingly, and without any additional items, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Thanks, everyone. We will see you at the next meeting. We appreciate your work.